Friday, May the 6th, 2011, TGIF here on the Exchange. You would not believe, if you missed yesterday's show, you were missing something, because we had Dr. Mary Beth Mudd on, and we're going to have her back, because that was a fascinating program on Zeltic, I believe was the name. Freeze your fat, get rid of it. Huh. And if you don't have the money, just go stand in front of the freezer, and by the time this program's over, you might have lost 10 or 12 pounds, I don't know. We need to get to our sponsors today on this Friday. We're brought to you by the Ohio Neck and Back Pain Relief Center, Scott M. Gray, D.C., across from the Marion Center between TSC and Kroger. For further information, dial 740-386-6580. Night Owl Theater, located on the net, www.fritzlives.com. For further information, email nightowltv@yahoo.com, NITEOWLTV@yahoo.com, and by the Bucyrus Placemat Company. To put an ad in on a placemat, call Wayne Flighter, 419-562-8473, located at 116 Wayne Avenue, Bucyrus, Ohio. And you can catch them on the net at www.bucyrusplacemats.com. And now, it is Friday, and as we do each and every day, and we're going to keep on doing it this Friday, we're going to head on over to our buddy Charlie Evers. Charlie, what did you think of Mary Beth yesterday?
Oh, that was great. And speaking of ice and freezing, the Glaciarium, which is the world's first mechanically frozen ice rink, opened, get this, in 1844.
That's a ways ago.
Oh, that was a long time ago. And now there's a mountain being transformed right now into an Indian chief. I don't know if you remember Chief Crazy Horse?
Yes.
Yes, I remember him well, too.
Went to high school with him, didn't you?
Yes.
I thought so.
But he graduated, well, just a little ahead of me. Oglala Sioux, that's what he was throughout. Chief Crazy Horse in 1877 was surrendering to the troops of the United States. And now they make a statue of him. What?
That upsets me, Charlie.
Well,
I'm going to go out when the show's
after he
over.
surrendered, they said, this guy must not be too bad.
Build a statue.
So let's build, yes.
I'm going to get letters. Why are you
Amazing.
picking on Charlie? Why are
Yeah.
you picking on Charlie? We're going to head over on this Friday to a great guy, great gentleman, and a guy who knows something about movies, that's for sure. Fritz the Night Owl with the Flick Pick. It's Friday. Hey, Fritz.
It's Friday, and again, we're going to sort of stay with the scary movies. The film we have tonight is from 1972, and it's called The Other. It's based on the first novel by Tom Tryon, and it deals with two 11-year-old twin boys who cause eerie, strange, morbid killings and deaths in a small New England town in a sweltering summer of 1935. The movie stars two twin boys who never had made a movie before and never made one after this. Their last name was I gotta look this up, Udvarnoky, Udvarnoky. They are superb as the good twin and the evil twin. They resemble they resemble each other very, very strongly. What is that? Identical twins. And they resemble a very young Kurt Russell. And they are these two boys, one good, one evil, and they cause these morbid, bizarre deaths in this small town. The whole town seems to be a little bit bonkers to begin with. About the only person that has any kind of logic or intelligence to the people there is the boy's grandmother, and she tries to explain to the townspeople and the elders what's going on, and of course they ignore her totally. And then as the picture develops, you get the feeling that maybe one of these twin boys does not actually exist. He may be a ghost. Really an intriguing film, start to finish. Eerie, weird, morbid, bizarre, absolutely, but will keep you on the edge of your seat all the way through. One of the things I liked about it was the film opens up where they're having a rubber gun fight. And if you're of a certain age, you remember how you made a rubber gun out of an inner tube tire and the couple of blocks of woods and you chase your buddies around, you tie a knot in the inner tube and squeeze this thing and the rubber band would fly. But that's the only non-scary part of the movie. Got a rubber gun out there, hey, I'd like to see it, I was an ace with that. Non-lethal. Okay, The Other from 1972.
Yeah. Hey, Fritz, what a movie to end this week on. And I do want to let everybody know out there that if you were listening to Fritz there, which I'm sure you were, you saw longtime WBNS anchorman Dave Kaler in the background there, who's very nice to sit in with us this week. Dave, have you had a good time?
Great time. Yeah.
Good.
I'm just a little bit suspicious about that fat thing though we had yesterday. I just don't understand how that works. But anyway, that's, liposuction I understand, but that machine, you just sit there and it just sucks the fat away?
I was ready to have her hook it up to me in a minute.
Yeah, Fritz was ready to get it plugged in here.
There we go.
Holy moly. It was interesting. Yeah, I agree with you, Dave. It is Friday, and we're going to talk with our good friend, Dr. Scott Gray, chiropractor. Dr. Gray, thank you so much for coming in again.
Yes, definitely. Great to be here today. Wanted to discuss a little bit today about what causes back pain and then really what people are doing out there. What's working, what's not working right now, and all the different options that we have. So if we remember, we've talked about the spine and how it works. There's 24 bones that are stacked on top of each other, and they can move independently of each other. We've got a little padding in between there, a little disc in there, okay? Now, in between each one of those, we've got nerves that come out on both sides. So what happens is, over time, as those discs can degenerate, those bones can start to move, and they can actually pinch those nerves that come out on the side, and that's what typically will start to cause us back pain. So what are people doing out there? Well, first of all, people use over-the-counter medications. So they're going to use the anti-inflammatories, the things like Aleve. Now, if you think about this, if your back pain is coming from something that's physically out of alignment or actually pushing on a nerve, how many Advil will it take to fix that problem? It's probably going to...
Quite a few.
Quite a few, yeah. It's not going to do a whole lot. So
Can I go to Percocet?
see, then you've got
Just kidding.
You got the prescription drugs. No, that's great. That's a great segue into the next thing. Prescription drugs are something that people use. If they'll use the Aleve and the aspirin, and then those things just don't cut it anymore. So then they have to step it up a little bit and go to things like Percocet and even higher and higher. So if that is the problem, that there's actually pressure on a nerve or on the disc there, those things are just going to cover up pain for a little bit. And any of your doctors will tell you that those are really for short-term use only. If it persists longer than that, you need to really find out what's going on, if it's going on longer than 2 weeks or so. So that's the first thing that people do. Now, I want to give a warning out there to people too, is that back pain can be more serious problems too. It's not always just a bone out of alignment, pushing on a nerve. It could be something like a kidney problem. People even have tumors that cause back pain. So if you are having this back pain and it's persisting, you really want to get that checked out by a professional because it could be something more serious. So you want to make sure you get that checked as soon as possible, okay? So the next thing is massage. A lot of people like massage, right? We like to go get those massages and they feel really good. But with the massage, you're going to really work to loosen up those tight muscles. And a lot of us have a lot of stress, on a daily basis that can cause our muscles to tighten up. And that'll pull things out of alignment. So massage can be really good for a temporary fix of a back pain or a neck pain. It's not going to fix if there's any kind of pressure on the nerve or anything like that. You want to go a little bit further than massage for that. Now, physical therapy. Anyone ever been to physical therapy here? Probably several of you. Now, physical therapy is basically it's exercise. We go there and we exercise and we strengthen muscles and we also stretch and loosen up other muscles. And this can be really good if your problem is only from a muscle imbalance. So that's something that people try there. The next thing, what I do is chiropractic. And what we do is we really get in there. If there's pressure on that nerve, we'll get in there and actually remove that pressure off of the nerve. And we actually use some physical therapy exercises in our office as well. I've actually done some work with a physical therapist where we've put some programs together because physical therapy works really great with chiropractic. You use those two together, you can usually knock out most problems of back pain. But if it's more serious than that, you've got a disc problem. Remember last week we talked about the disc. When the disc degenerates and gets smaller, it can actually cause a disc herniation or a disc bulge. That's where we use non-surgical spinal decompression. That will help to heal that disc. Okay, so non-surgical spinal decompression is really good for that. We do that at our office as well. Now, if it's past that, then that's when people go in for surgery. And typically, we're kind of that last defense against people going to get surgery. That's really that last-ditch effort. And any of your surgeons will tell you that as well, is that if you've tried everything and nothing's working, that's when you go and actually get surgery done for your back or neck, okay? Anyone ever had acupuncture done in here before?
I hear it's a cure for everything, though.
There's a lot of different things that it can help with, from people wanting to stop smoking, people wanting to eliminate back pain, people wanting to eliminate headaches. Acupuncture works for a lot of different things. It's amazing how it works. When I was in school, my radiology teacher, my x-ray and MRI teacher, was doing some research out at Harvard. And what they were finding is they were actually doing research when they did acupuncture in people's different areas of their body, they were scanning the brain to see what it was doing. And they found out that it really does activate certain areas of the brain and can make a change in our physiology. So they're actually starting to get some hardcore science behind acupuncture now. So it does work well for a lot of different problems. But again, if you do have some kind of disc degeneration, if you have a bone out of place, nerve pressure, it's not going to do a whole lot for that.
I don't know what I believe when it comes to this acupuncture, though, because,
Yeah.
really, I say it kind of in jest, but people do believe it's a cure for everything. You
Yeah.
can't get a date Saturday night, go get the
Right.
acupuncturist, you'll be fine. You'll be dateful for the next month. It kind of reminds me of this hypnosis that people go through to quit smoking or something.
Right.
Maybe it's not the same thing, but that's what it reminds me of.
Yeah, a lot. I think, it's the same thing with chiropractic. You've got some chiropractors out there that say that they can heal everything. Everything that's going on in your body, I'm going to fix it, I'm going to heal it. We have to know our limitations. There's certain things that we're good at and certain things that we're not good at. If you look at chiropractic, we have on WebMD 95% success rate with low back pain. We're the #1 treatment for neck and low back pain in the Journal of Manipulative Mechanics. So we're great with those things, but past that, it's like acupuncture. They're good for certain things, but sometimes people can go a little bit off the deep end with it. And I'm not saying that people haven't gotten results, because I've adjusted people before and they've said my acid reflux is gone and this is gone. We don't claim that we heal acid reflux, but sometimes when those nerves are getting pinched, they control everything in the body. So,
But
yeah.
surgery, I have heard quite a few people tell me who have had back surgery that it doesn't do any good. That they're no better off after the surgery than they were before it. And that's scary to have your
It is.
back operated on. I don't know why, but it just seems like
It's very scary.
Would you go to a bone man for the back surgery or a neurosurgeon?
A neurosurgeon. In Columbus, we've got some people down in Columbus. We've got some people here in Marion, actually a spine surgeon here in Marion that is very good if it gets to that point where you need to have surgery. But surgery is one of those things that it's a last-ditch effort. Some of the research out there says that surgery's effectiveness is less than 50%, which means they'll have the same or worse pain afterwards. When you go in there, you're getting close to the spinal cord. There's a lot of risks. You can, do things to the nervous system. You're going to have a lot of scar tissue afterwards. So it can cause a lot of different issues with your back. And some people, it works well. Some people, like you said, and over 50% won't get any relief or may have worse pain afterwards. So that's a good point. But, sometimes you just get to that point where they can't move around, can't walk, can't do anything. They've tried chiropractic, they've tried decompression, and nothing works. So unfortunately, we can't help everybody, and sometimes it goes that route, and they have to try it.
Now, the area where the bones are rubbing against each other, that material that normally keeps them apart, can that be replaced artificially, or once it's gone, is it gone?
There's a lot of experimental procedures out there right now. Surgeons are doing more with working on replacing the disc in there, actually a disc replacement. So there's different ways that they do that. Not every surgeon is going to do those types of procedures, and they don't really know the effectiveness of it now because it's more of a new procedure that's out there.
I think the back is a very interesting area to study. I would think it would probably be one of the most predominant areas to go into right now. People are hurting their back all the time.
Yes.
And getting treated for it.
Definitely. People have back pain all the time, every day, because the fact is we have to use our backs. When we lift anything, when we bend, when we twist, when we go and get the groceries, when we put the kids in the car, when we, are at work standing all day, it's going to have an effect on our back. When we're sitting there on the computer, it's going to have an effect on our neck and our back. So we always have to use our back. And the thing is, we only get one. So, if we have a back problem, our back goes out, we can get a new kidney, we can get a new liver, we can get new teeth, we can, suck the fat off with a freezing machine. There's all kinds of stuff that you can do. But
Where'd you hear that?
just rumors going around. But when it comes to the back, if your back goes out, if you lose a disc and you get bone on bone, you're stuck. There's no replacement for that. There's no way to do that.
Let me play kind of a devil's advocate in this situation. I've gone to a chiropractor and it works, except you have to keep going back over and over and over and over again. There's nothing that, in other words, after 6 treatments in a couple of months, I had to go back again. Exactly. Because it gets out of line.
Yep, and that's one of the biggest questions I get. People say, once I go to a chiropractor, I always have to go back. And you're exactly right with that. And that's the thing that not a lot of chiropractors are going to tell you. Because think about it, did you ever go to the dentist and they say, okay, we're going to clean your teeth this time, but after this, just wait till they fall out and we'll see you then. Have you ever been to an eye doctor where they check your eyes once and say, just come back when you're blind? They're not going to do that. All doctors are going to make sure that they take care of your health and do proper checkups with you. And what we do as chiropractors is, depending on the severity of the problem, is we may do an intense phase of care to get them back into alignment again. Then we want to stabilize that so that it lasts a long time, and then do some maintenance. And that's when we get to the point where, if people need to get adjusted once a month, once every couple months to make sure that they stay in alignment, that's what we do. Because your back's always going to go out. You're always going to have issues with it. And it's, I use the analogy too of thinking about someone that goes to the gym. If we go to the gym, we've probably all gone to the gym before. We work out on the treadmill, lift some weights, do those types of things. Have we ever gone there and we go that first time, we go in there and do an hour workout, and then we come out thinking we're going to look like Mr. or Mrs. Olympia? Probably not going to happen, right? We've got to take the time to take care of our bodies. So you bring up a very good point, and that's something that, Scott asked me one time before, is chiropractic a luxury or is it a necessity? And with what I know about the spine and how it degenerates, I believe it's a necessity. And that's what I teach people. And people can, it's their body. They can make the decision on when they want to go into the chiropractor and get their spine adjusted. But yes, that is true that you do have to maintain your spine, just like we have to brush our teeth, just like we have to take care of all the different parts of our body.
The interesting thing, doctor, that I have found, and why I asked you that question a few weeks ago about luxury or is it a necessity, is that, as Dave said, you have to keep going back. But with any of the other things that you mentioned, a dentist, working out, so on and so forth, there is a point where you could probably stop and say, my teeth probably aren't going to fall out tomorrow. I see people get very dependent on their chiropractor, that if I don't go Wednesday, I'm going to be in big trouble Thursday. Why is that? Is that mine?
Well, that's an awesome question, because here's what happens. When do people typically do something about their back? Do they do it preventatively, or do they wait until they hurt?
Wait. Yeah.
We wait until we hurt. And that's human nature. That's just how we all do it. And so people get to the point where their back deteriorates to a point where they do have to get chiropractic on a more regular basis than if they would have just prevented it before, they wouldn't have to go quite as much. So that's one of the things I try to educate people on, is do as much as you can to prevent and do maintenance, because that will prevent you from having to go a whole lot later on in life, like you're talking about, Scott.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And I every time you're on, I think it's fascinating, because the back is one of the most fascinating parts of the body, I think. Certainly now more than it was 20, 30 years ago. I mean, Charlie, you were just talking about some issues that people in your family have had.
Does everyone have 24 vertebrae? Is that standard in
No.
the body?
No, that's a good question. Some people have an extra lumbar vertebra. So when you're born, your sacrum is actually 5 different bones that fuse together to become one tailbone, one sacrum, okay? Sometimes people end up with an extra lumbar, so instead of having 5, they'll have 6. So some people have 25 vertebrae in their spine. But that's a small percentage of the population, 1 to 3% that would have that.
What about runners? Maybe just getting into training again for some runs this year, and their back starts hurting. What should they do?
There's a lot of different things you can do, especially if you're running, is doing your stretches before and after you go out to run.
Is that important, stretching before you run?
Definitely, yes, because you don't want to go out there and just start using those muscles without getting them stretched out ahead of time. You're going to be much more prone to injury if you do that. So doing the stretching before and after, a lot of people don't do it afterwards. And doing it afterwards is also very good to make sure that you don't injure yourself. So that's the most simple way to prevent problems.
Exercises, when you lie flat on your back and you put your legs up, and this tenses up, and that helps your back, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Yeah, getting the strong ab muscles, that's part of your core muscles. Those are the ones that you want strong. And typically in Americans, our abs are weak. Just because of our lifestyle, the way that we sit to work at the computer or, you know, watch TV, eat dinner, sit here like we are now, it creates weak ab muscles. So that is very important.
I think that's what my problem is. I should be doing that more often.
Yeah.
And I don't.
A lot of us,
I don't.
and that's why I'm always out there educating
Yeah.
people, because we forget. You know, we get busy.
Yeah.
We get busy, and we don't take the time to do it. And what I've tried to do in my book is make it so people have a 10 to 15-minute routine they can do each day, so that it's not taking a whole lot of time out of your day. You can do it first thing when you wake up, make it
And that's
nice
the
and
book
easy.
there?
That's
Yes,
the book.
Yes.
Good,
Book.
good back,
Good
bad
back, bad back.
Absolutely, and you can get that where, doctor?
Well, you can actually go to my website, and for right now, you can download it for free.
Wow.
Ah, there you go.
And that's goodbackbadback.com. So www.goodbackbadback.com. And there's a little section that says get the book for free. Just put in your name and email, and we'll email it to you. And you can print it off your computer. You can read it on your computer. You can put it on your Kindle. You can put it on your iPad. All those different ways that people read books now, you can get it on there. You can also, if you want the hard copy like this, you can buy it at Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com as well. So a couple different ways you can get it, and it's always nice to be able to get it for free too.
Absolutely. Thank you, doctor. It's always a pleasure. He's going to
You're
stick
welcome.
with us through the mailbag question here this week. Very simple one. From Tiffany and Marion. Do you have any fears, phobias? Charlie, do you have any phobias?
No,
No, you're just nothing frightens you.
no,
Nothing
not
at all.
really, no,
No. Claustrophobia,
no.
arachnophobia.
Well, I don't like crawl spaces under homes. I don't like working like that. But nothing else, heights or, you know, nothing about it. Nothing.
Marianne, heights, anything?
I climbed to the top of the Pisa Tower. I don't have a height problem.
Yeah.
Fear of needles?
No, I don't. I can't think of any.
Well, you're going to
phobia.
get Botox here on the air in a couple weeks. It's going to be exciting. I'm glad you don't have that fear of needles.
No, I don't have fear of needles. I really don't.
Dave, any fears?
Yeah, heights probably, except it's really amazing. I love roller coasters, but I close my eyes going up. But when I get to the top, I open it. I have, you know, that's kind of weird. And claustrophobic crawl spaces, yeah, I'm not really, I don't like, it's mostly for the critters that are under there. It has nothing to do with it.
Spider.
Arachnophobia. Fritz, what do you think?
No, I'm mildly claustrophobic. If I've got to sit between two people on an airplane and it's more than an hour flight, I'm edgy and nervous. And
I
that's
don't like that either.
Likewise theater. Notice where I'm sitting at this table on the end, and I do try to avoid tight places and not being in big crowds and things like that. So not to the point that I go bonkers over it. I mean, if I've had to fly to Seattle, which is like the other side of the planet, but it was like 7-8 hours. But I mean, by the time I got off, I was really edgy simply because I got the middle seat, which I hate. I like the airplanes where there's two on one side, one on the other, and propellers.
There you go. Doctor, any fears?
Definitely claustrophobia. That's one that really gets me. I remember playing sardines as a kid where you really pack in and they're looking to find you.
Yeah.
That made my heart race doing that game. I couldn't do it. And being in places like a crawl space where you know you can't get out, or going under those tunnels where you actually go under the water, where the ocean or the water's above you, that scares me. That if that breaks, there's no getting out. That stuff scares me.
How do you overcome it in your mind? Because obviously it happens where you get stuck in the center of two people on the airplane, or you have to go through. What do you say something to yourself? Do you take a deep breath? Do you sedate yourself before you go in? What do you do?
I do breathing exercises to calm myself down and focus on where I'm going. I try not to, I take myself out of that situation and start thinking about what I'm going to do when I get there, the things that I have to look at, you know, when I get there. I know I'm gonna get out, it's just a matter of, you know, what I'm gonna do when I get out.
Yeah. Fritz, what do? You just breathing?
I got to admit, diazepam or lorazepam.
Sedation.
Yeah, it also works for stage fright, so
I
It
can't
works for me.
imagine you having stage fright.
oh, yeah, and that was why I originally, you know, the knees knock a little bit and you got to hold papers up and like that. Oh, it was always a problem, so, you know.
But it's not a problem now.
Well, no, but that's only because I've been doing it for 900 years, you know. But in the beginning, that was, I liked the business and I liked the performing, but the stage fright, that was why radio and television always were more appealing to me than, say, live theater. Although I've done live theater, but nervous before that, and as I say, 1 milligram of lorazepam or diazepam.
And what's that phobia, agoraphobia, where you're afraid of everything?
Afraid to go
Going out of the
outside.
house.
Afraid to go
Going out of the
outside.
house.
But what is it when you're afraid of everything? There's a phobia of that. But I
I don't
know
know.
going outside is a,
Afraid of everything would be rough.
I know.
What a rough life that would be. If you have a question for the mailbag, you can send that to us on Facebook under the name The Exchange Marion, or email them to us at irmcommunication@gmail.com. Dave, it's been a pleasure to have you here.
No,
this
it's great.
week.
It's been
yes,
fun.
it's nice to see
It's
you.
been an absolute thrill, and as we
Very
do,
nice week.
thank you. And as we do each and every Friday, now pull the camera over here on Charlie, because we like to do this every Friday with Charlie. Charlie, if you know what I'm going for here, it's time for Charlie Evers' public announcement on men who shave their head. Charlie,
Oh.
speak. What do you think? of
Men who shave their heads,
Right here on Charlie.
they need their head examined.
What do they look
There's
like?
nothing uglier than a man who shaves his head. I mean, it's bad enough if you're bald, naturally, but when you go about and shave your head, that is ridiculous.
Send your letters to him, not me. See you on Monday.